Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Nour Elborno, and today we're going to learn about the present simple, but I hope it's going to be in a fun way. So let's begin. Now, what can you see in the picture? Monday, 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 Monday. A cup of coffee, a cup of coffee, a cup of coffee, a cup of coffee. So what do we learn from this picture or these pictures? That we're talking about doing something repeatedly, multiple times, many times on the same day, but in different weeks. So, what is the best way to describe this action? What's the best way to say this in English? Every Monday, Sarah drinks coffee. Every Monday, I drink coffee. Every Monday, we drink coffee. So, what do we notice about these three sentences? Well, obviously, that in the three sentences, the verb is in the present simple. What's the meaning of the verb is in the present simple? If you want an answer to this question, make sure you watch the first video of the series. And I promise this is not going to be a long one. So, when we talk about verbs, or when we talked about verbs in the previous video, we said that the verb in the present simple can have two forms. The verb in the present simple can have two forms. It can either look like the infinitive. For example, the infinitive of the verb eat is eat. So it can either look like eat, the same, or it can have an S. So these are the two forms of the present simple. The verb can either look like the infinitive, the root, the stem, or it could have an S. When does it look like the root and when does it have an S? It's very simple. If the subject is singular, then the verb has an S. Let's have an example. Sarah is one person, right? So Sarah drinks coffee. This is correct. It is incorrect, wrong, to say Sarah drink coffee. So this is incorrect. So if I want to say that Sarah has or does something repeatedly, or it's a habit for her, it's something that she does habitually, the best structure is the present simple. The present simple, or the verb in the present simple, can be either exactly like the root of the verb, or it could have an S. So when I describe a repeated action or a habitual action that happens on the same day, same month, same hour, same whatever, I use either without an S or with an S. So when do I use with an S? If the subject is singular. Sarah drinks coffee. The cat, for example, loves milk. Okay, so it's one cat. But when the subject, if the subject, or when the subject is plural, the verb looks like the root. We do not add an S. Let's see an example. The cats, see, not one cat, many cats. The cats love milk. Sarah and Lauren drink coffee. So this one is correct. And this one is correct. But wait, why is the first Sarah wrong here? Because even though I'm talking about a habit, I'm not using the correct form of the verb. the correct form of the verb when the subject is singular, I have to add an S. So this is wrong. But this one is correct. Why? Because there is an S in the verb that has or that follows a singular subject. Here, Sarah is not or does not drink coffee alone. There's another person who drinks coffee every Monday. Who's that person? Lauren. So we have Sarah and Lauren. That's two. That's plural. So if the subject is plural, the verb looks like the root. That's why it does not have an S. The cats love milk, but the cat, one cat, loves milk. Makes sense? I hope so. So let's revise this very quickly. When the subject is singular, and okay, let's start from if I want to talk about a habit, something that happens often, reoccurs, then I use present simple. The present simple can either be the verb with an S or the verb without an S. When do I use the verb with an S? If the subject is singular. I use the verb plus an S at the end. If the subject is plural, I use the verb without the S, without it, no S. Okay, what about the subject I? I is like the plural subject. So with I use the verb without the S. And this is regarding verb to do. Okay, so this is regarding all the verbs that have do as their source. If you go to the video, the first video, you're going to learn how to use the present simple with verb to be. Make a distinction. Learn to distinguish between the two. Do, verb to do, is the source of all verbs. So all verbs, except for verb to be, are treated like this when I want to talk about something that is a habit. Okay? إنها عادة, habit. Okay. Next. This is a chart to remind you that if there is an indication of repetition, if there is an indication of repetition, for example, every month, every May, every July, every October, every January, every February, or every day, you're being specific, every Monday, every Sunday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Friday, every season, every autumn, every spring, every winter, every year, every week, every hour, every minute, we use the present simple to indicate this habit. If the subject is plural, the verb is without an S. If the subject is I, the verb without an S. If the subject is singular, the verb has an S. If the subject is plural, you got it right. The verb is without an S. Make sense? Okay, let's move forward. Now, remember, facts are of two types, relative and absolute. What's the meaning of a relative fact? It means I consider it a fact if it depends on a person. For example, my mom makes yummy food. ماما بتعمل أكل زاكي. Is this something that everyone agrees on? If I invite a friend, is she going to definitely agree on that? يعني هل مين ما بيدوق أكل أمي بيقول عن أكلها زاكي? Is this like everyone agrees that my mom's food is yummy? No. Some people may love her food. Some people may hate her food. But if I'm going to talk about her food, to me, it's a fact. يعني أنا بالنسبة لي هي حقيقة. فلما بدي أعبر عنها, I use the present simple. اللي هو نفس الشكل اللي استخدمناه فوق, لكن سبب استخدامي اختلف. هنا أنا بحكي عن حقيقة نسبية بالنسبة إلي. To me, my mom makes yummy food. Absolute or universal facts, if you ask anyone, they're going to agree with you. For example, the sun rises from the east. If you go to India, if you go to America, if you go to the Philippines, if you go wherever you go, if you go to the moon, no, I don't think if you go to the moon, it's the same thing. But if you go anywhere on earth, وين ما تروح, if you ask about the sun, where it rises from, everyone is going to say that the sun rises from the east. Okay? So it's a universal fact. Everyone agrees on it. But relative facts, not everyone agrees on it. It depends on the person. Make sense? Okay. So when I say, my mother cooks delicious meals, my mom makes delicious food, it's a relative fact because I say it with relation to myself, what I think. Sammy hates chocolate. Sammy hates chocolate, but not all people hate chocolate. So to Sammy, Sammy hates chocolate. Okay? The sun rises from the east. Well, duh, everyone agrees on it. Okay, so number one, we said we use the present simple to express habits every Monday, every Sunday, every year, every month. We use the present simple to talk about facts, to express facts, to say facts. These facts can either be universal, everyone agrees on them, or they can be personal, relative. They depend on the speaker. But whether it is absolute or personal or relative, you have to use the present simple tense, which we just explained. Now, you go to the bus station. This is the bus station where the buses are, where you go to get a bus. So at the bus station, there is an official list, an official timetable that is provided by the station so that you would know which bus to wait for and which bus goes to where. Okay? So هذه التايم تيبل، هذه اللائحة اللي عليها الأوقات اللي موجودة في محطة الباص، it's an official timetable. بمعنى إنه أنا إذا أجيت الساعة 11:30 بالليل حلاقي باص غزة. أنا إذا رحت الساعة 10 in the morning, I'm going to find Jerusalem bus. If I go at 12 p.m., I'm going to find Khan Yunis bus. So this is an official timetable. Now, if I want to express this idea, how do I express it? I say the bus leaves at 6 p.m. Schools open at 9 a.m. The plane lands at 10 a.m. The plane takes off at 10:30 in the morning or a.m. What's in common among all of these sentences? That they are all in the present simple. They are all in the present simple, and they all describe an action. Yeah? They all describe a certain time that was assigned by an official entity. بمعنى إنه كلهم بيعبروا عن زمن. مين محدده أنا وإنت وهم؟ لا، اللي محدده أشخاص أو مؤسسة أو خلينا نقول مسؤولين في مكان ما. يبقى so far we mentioned 3 reasons to use the structure of the present simple tense. If it's a habit, every. If it is a fact, whether it is universal or relative. And if I want to talk about an official time that was assigned by official authorities. So what does this mean? It means that it doesn't matter when I ask about the time. يعني لو الساعة هلأ مثلا 10:30 in the morning and I ask, when does the Jerusalem bus arrive? The person I ask is not going to say, it arrived at 10 a.m. مع إني أنا بسأل على الساعة 10:30 يعني المفروض إنه إجا وراح. لا، إيش بحكي لي؟ The bus or the Jerusalem bus arrives at 10 a.m. ليش قال لي arrives at؟ لأنه أساساً هذا الموعد official time assigned or made by official authorities سلطات عليا. تمام؟ Makes sense? I hope you learned something useful and see you in our next video.